time ago in the pre-Panini world, some of us, used to go to a circus and we used to have a lot of fun. Sometimes, most of the time, they would put out a disclaimer saying, "Do not try this at home." Now that saying has three implications that I can think of from the top of my head. And the first one is that they are blatantly telling you that you do not have the experience, the training, or the qualifications necessary to try this at home. So, refrain. Secondly, they're telling you that you probably do not have the available resources to accurately do this at home. So it's very hard to hang from a rope if you do not have a rope or a room from which to hang it. And then finally, probably the most important would be, you could harm yourself or others, and therefore you should definitely not try this at home. Now I'm thinking maybe this disclaimer belongs to science and the public domain as well. Before we get into this video, let me just make it abundantly clear that every single person mentioned in this video, including myself, none of us are qualified in the medical fields at all. We should not be taken seriously to any extent. We are just here to provide entertainment, and you should definitely consult IRL people that are qualified. Not us, not me. Don't take any of this seriously. This is not important. The second thing that I want to say is I'm going to try my best to avoid that yellow dollar sign. So I'm going to be using the metaphors and the thingies, and I hope that you get what I'm saying. If you don't, we can always chat about it in the comments. And then I also want to say that it's important to remember that none of these people actually discourage you from going and getting the jab at all. In fact, none of them said that you should absolutely not get it, or that it's dangerous, or alternatively that it would lead to. So I think it's important when we criticize people to criticize them on what they're actually saying and the implications of what they're literally saying. And we can do that without misrepresenting their argument. We can say that they are not anti anything and yet still making some assertions. And the thing is, it's like, this is funny. This is funny. I think it's really funny, especially if we just consider that public figures should not be taken seriously in the sense they are absolutely not qualified. I mean, would you trust this guy with religious opinions or this guy's political opinions, or would you go to this person for medical advice? No, please, dear, no. If you said yes to any of the above, I'm sorry. Your life must be extra difficult. You're playing life on hard mode. That just could not be me. Now, all of that being said, do not send anybody any hate, harassment, or bullying. Leave it in my comment section. I love that shit. I am here for it, and I truly enjoy some extra bonus engagement. Since this has been a very difficult, unprecedented time for most of us, we have had different kind of reactions to this shit show performance that we've seen around us, and we've been trying to entertain it through mental gymnastics and other forms of distractions and so on and so forth. Some people are coping better than others, I would say. People, go to extremes in order to justify what is happening in the world. You see some of them become spiritual. If you just breathe right, everything will be right, because mind over matter or some other thing that needs essential oils. And then you get some people grabbing a bullhorn, screaming, "Wake up, sheeple, wake up, the end is nigh." That's a choice. And then, of course, there are people who just entirely think this is a joke and that none of us should actually care to the extent that we are caring. And we're just gonna laugh at everybody, and it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a good time, Just settle down. Let's begin.
Morty, I think it would be fun for you to work on a science project with your dad.
Yeah, Dad, why don't we do it together?
Yes! You backed the right horse on this one, son. We'll get out the crayons, brew some coffee, and knock this thing out in 2 or 3 days.
Matthew Santoro is a YouTuber with a staggering amount of followers. However, recently some very strange things have been happening. He decided to switch over to Twitch because his YouTube was just not working anymore. It was just failing. He's been losing views. He actually didn't lose subscribers, which didn't make a lot of sense. And well, people started thinking, why, how? And there's been a lot of great videos speculating as to why the reasons is that he could have lost his audience and interest in it. And primarily it comes down to this overproduction. Could be right. However, he did take a little break when this decline in views started occurring. And I went back and checked and saw that the 2 videos that he'd released as soon as his views started dropping. And they were, well, on vaccinations and pandemics. And here is a very important part to note. He did not ever say, ever, that what is happening globally is not happening. He never denied it, and he never said anti-anything.
We're fortunate that we live in a world that has eradicated some of the most deadly diseases.
Basically, if you want to push a narrative, then you could make the case that he possibly did argue that what is currently happening in the world is not the worst thing to have happened. And then he said, "Fight me, bitches." Because he linked his sources, he backed it up, and he called everybody else Karens. That was just it. So from the outside, that shouldn't look like a big deal, right? I mean, who cares? That there's nothing controversial in there. He's just basically making his list and doing good old Matthew behaviors as he does. But as with most of these people, he decided that he is going to do a little bonus show. And this little show is going to happen on the Instagram. Now, if you are really smart in marketing and branding, then you kind of know you should diversify your revenue, income, and viewership, right? So if you want to say some controversial things, then maybe it's not best to say it on your main platform. So he took to Instagram. I shit you not. He had stories upon stories. Now the problem is that most of these were not documented, screenshotted, or easy to find. What I can find and show you here is people responding to his stories saying things like, "Matt, this is maybe not the look. This is maybe not it." So essentially, what he was saying is basically this whole I breathe right, and therefore I can overcome panini kind of problems. You know, that's I am absolutely watering it down. So basically, he didn't say anything that you could sue him over, but he did upset his fans. He did upset a lot of people. And when told that maybe, you know, empathy, where it at, how you doing? He came back and said, "Nah, fam, this is not it." He did, however, kind of double down, I guess you could argue, by making this. I mean, these kinds of posts, I never know if you should call them like an apology or a doubling down, because on the one hand, he's saying, "I'm sticking to my guns," but also, "Lol, thank you so much for like allowing me to stick to my guns." And I mean, that's probably fair. That is probably fair. I would say that most people, no, everybody is, I would say that everybody is entitled to an opinion. And just because his opinion is dog shit doesn't mean he's not allowed to. And again, that's just my opinion, right? You can disagree with me, that's fine, that's fine. However, then after the Instagram saga, which seemed like an overkill, right? There was no real reason for this. He then took to Twitter, not to post anything, because again, like you can't quote tweet somebody or subtweet somebody who didn't post anything. Oh no, if you want to be sly and sneaky about the things that you like, well then you just like them. And currently he's liking all of these really questionable things where it's like a Matt, oh no, son, why is this happening? So, yeah, look, people are accusing him of the wildest kinds of things, saying that he's QAnon. You can disagree with him to an extent. You don't need to slander the man. You can call him incorrect. You can call him hilarious. You can take this as a giant meme. I know that a lot of people are referring to his Twitch, which he's currently primarily on.
You're done, bitch. Sorry, guys, I'm getting aggressive. Ow! Eat a fucking dick! That's what I'm fucking talking about! Yeah! Woo! Fucking woo! Flashlight saves straight up give me a boner. Like, straight up erection. Oh god, that's so good.
But it doesn't seem like he is saying anything that anybody should do, right? He's limiting his level of influence, and I think that is probably the best way to go about it. If you have to have a hot take that you have to inform the public with, and you felt that you done it your most, you told us every single thing, and we just do not want to listen, we're not as mindful, we're not at peace, and we just want to hate and rage. Oh, it sucks to be us, doesn't it, Matt? It just fucking sucks. Anyway, so this clown then decided to keep it pushing.
Let's get
More
back
than
to
4 million copies of that game, but due to just how poor it was.
Wait, he went full anti-masker?
And you know what? That's fine. Personally, compared to the other clowns that we're going to be discussing in this video, I would say that if you are going to have, let's frame it as a bad take, then maybe have it with your full chest. Be mask off about it, be honest. But if we're getting a different mat based on which application we're following you on, then it does make you seem really disingenuous. Then I kind of get why people are speculating about your true motives and where you think you belong and who you really are. Because I mean, it's very obvious in your YouTube videos that you are putting on a kind of a persona, and I don't think he's a bad dude. He doesn't seem like a bad dude. He just seems pretty insincere, and that kind of just, you know, adds to the conspiracy of it all. So, Matt, what's good, son?
And then Jupiter.
Actually, I don't think Pluto's a planet.
Of course Pluto's a planet, son. I learned that in the 3rd grade.
Well, yeah, but, you know, they changed it.
Morty, nobody changed the planets.
I just Googled it. Pluto's not a planet. They changed it in 2006.
Yeah, I heard about that, Morty. And I disagree.
You disagree?
That's right. It's possible to disagree in science, Morty. Pluto was a planet. Some committee of fancy assholes disagree. I disagree back. Give me a ping pong ball.
Okay.
So GradeAUnderA is the drunken, absent grandfather of YouTube.com. He's been here to have a rise and a fall, a resurrection, again an absence. He's just all around that guy. You know, okay. So he decided to make another comeback, and he wanted to talk about the Coco V and whether or not it's overhyped.
Down slowly.
Mate!
Bruh. It sucks.
Very, very important. Can we just agree that when people are questioning if something is overhyped, that does not mean that they are implying the opposite. They're not saying we should care 0%. I just want to make it clear, because he's been done dirty with that kind of counter argument. I don't think it's fair saying that something is overhyped mean that we have an overreaction to the level of the problem. The problem might be like a 5 out of 10 and our reaction is like a 7. That's what overhyped means, right? He's not saying that our reaction is a 7 and it should be a 0. That's not a valid position to take. Now, people have been responding very, very seriously and really wanting to debate GradeAUnderA on this video. And I pity the fool. I do. The thing is that Grade has been called out many a times for many a video, and specifically if we look at the documentary style video done by The Right Opinion, then we know that the fall of GradeAUnderA was characterized as him getting involved in serious quote-unquote stuff instead of simply merely comedy. I try to give people the benefit of the doubt, and genuinely, as somebody who watched him when I was like 12 maybe, as a long-time fan, first-time caller, I would say that I still think that he is trying to be funny. I genuinely do not think that any point of this is serious at all. I mean, if you're gonna barely come back, then your video needs to be the best quality in the world with the most well-researched evidence, facts, receipts, every single thing, or it needs to be controversial. Those are your options, and since he's a lazy boy, we know which one he would pick. Am I right? Okay. So, if I'm going to speculate on what had happened here, he wanted to make a controversial video, and the thing is, I don't think he believes what he's saying for a few reasons. Firstly, all of the fallacies in this video, every single one, he's been doing those. He's been doing the hyperbolic, the straw man, the whataboutism, this is not a new great move. He's been called out for it many a time, and he probably will be again in the future. That's his style of comedy, and the fact that people did have a very serious reaction. I mean, this dude wanted to debate Grade.
You gotta debate this doofus? Yeah, we can tweet at him. Hold on. Let's see. It's GradeAUnderA. Hey, he won't? No, of course he won't. There's a 0% chance of that happening. However, hold on. There we go. Hey, GradeAUnderA, your code video was pretty dumb, and you seemed confident enough in it to invite people to debate you over it on your Twitch channel. Want to chat about it sometime. There we go. We need to be tonally careful, because if there's any chance whatsoever of him actually responding positively, it can't be like calling him a dumb fuck or whatever.
I mean, for what? What are you going to convince him of? You literally can't convince him. Look at how Grade doesn't understand what antibodies is.
I'd rather tongue kiss someone with get over it and risk that than get the vaccine. And not some people like, if I was an old person and unhealthy and this and that or whatever, would I get the vaccine? Absolutely. My parents, yeah, sure, get that.
Yeah, so obviously this dude isn't denying that it exists. He's not denying medical intervention for it. He's just simply saying that, yeah, I wanted to talk about something controversial and this is the most controversial I can make it without seeming like a total absolute fucking idiot.
It has 5 autoimmune diseases. Christ. Autoimmune diseases, and both of us got. Local hospital said if she got COVID, she would die, but she didn't even bat an eyelid and was fine. Yeah, Jay, there's a lot of people that, you know, high risk and they get it and nothing happens. Then you get some, you know, the odd young person here and then that gets it and they, you know, croak.
So I personally think that this was straight up comedy. He is the only one in this discussion that actually did it on his main platform. So if he truly does believe some no things, then at least he's saying it with his whole chest. And I mean, that's something, right? Yeah, that's something. I don't know. I think it's a joke. Another conspiracy, though, as to why he would do something as radical as this, I saw on the Half-Baked podcast.
The thing is, there are like 2 or 3 options we can take with this, right? And part of it is Nick's theory. So I'm thinking like either he has no idea what YouTube in the current state of like the internet is, and so he thought he could post that video and be fine, or he wanted to like tank part of his channel.
If he posts a vaccine video, I think I'm right. So I thought I'd post this video on vaccines! And then he posts that and it gets removed too. Yeah, dude, he's tanking his channel. He's trying to blow himself up intentionally so he can be a martyr.
So yeah, Grade is just being a class clown, and you can laugh at it, you can hate it, but you should almost definitely not try to debate it.
Shut up, Rick.
Whoa!
I don't care what anyone says. If it can be a planet, it can be a planet again. Planet. I want to file a declaration that Pluto is a planet. Well, then my son's going to fail a science class, and when that happens, I'm suing you first.
Oh boy, this one is gonna be hard to contextualize. Okay, so JonTron is probably the most infamous YouTuber on this list. And the thing is, he has gotten himself into many a controversy, but specifically a few years ago he had a debate with another YouTuber called Destiny, and he said some really raunchy ass shit that absolutely nobody, including him, stands by at this point.
You had an infamous debate.
Yes.
With somebody that got you into a lot of hot water. It happened, how long ago was that now?
I don't keep track. I don't know. It was like a year or so.
I don't remember. Wow, has it been that long?
Yeah, like 9 months or something.
Anyway, like there was a lot of backlash and a lot of people upset about what you said in it.
Yeah, I'm sure people want to know about this, so I just get it out of the way. I look back at some of that and I'm like, why the fuck did I say that? Like, this is no matter what, right or wrong, this is a fucking bad look there. I'm aware of that. The main question on everyone's mind is, oh, is he a racist? Is he a Nazi? Simple answer, and this is what everyone wants. I mean, no. I treat every single person with the same respect they afford me. So, I felt bad about the incident in a sense, but like I also just feel bad that we can't talk about these things without witch hunting each other.
Right.
And obviously these means that he's a Nazi, a white supremacist, and should be cancelled off the face of the earth. But he did realize that it was dumb, and he said he was sorry, and he felt very embarrassed, and he wanted to move on when questioned about it on the Hate Street podcast. So calling him a Nazi is probably not it, and maybe we should not do that when trying to talk about medical opinion. Saying that a medical opinion is a political opinion is also a bit wishy-washy for me, and I'm not going to take that counter argument. So what I'm saying is I heard you, I recognize you, but I just don't believe you. The evidence just is not there, and it's a very serious accusation, and I would love some receipts. I would love some receipts. Somebody even linked Xander Hall trying to make this case, and Xander Hall was literally responding to a Banana Republic meme.
So I think it's fair to say that JonTron is absolutely still a Nazi, or at least an alt-righter, or a white nationalist, and this has been what brings it up. And I feel like this is...
Oh, no, man. What I will say on that, though, is that if you ever find yourself believing that posting memes on Twitter about your political, religious, or medical hot takes will actually change the mind of literally anybody, then you belong on Boomer Facebook. It's a place, you can go there. It's pretty welcoming, I heard. But it's not, I've never heard of a single person that saw a meme on Twitter and then changed their political, religious, or medical beliefs. Another thing that I will say is that this behavior from JonTron is on Twitter only, not on YouTube. And on YouTube, he is just straight up a comedian. He reacts to things that have zero real world implication, and it's objectively funny.
Do I look like the kind of guy that would do that to a kid like you? You look like a snake! Yes! What?
I love every single time he puts out a video, but he rarely ever does that. And this is a kind of a question of separating the artist from the art, if you can enjoy the works that he creates and not consider him as a person. Because, I mean, we don't know. He might have some very strange political beliefs, but I don't look to him to find political inspiration, because I genuinely think he's a funny man, not a smart man. You don't have to be both. You don't have to be both. If you've got money, you don't have to be attractive. It is what it is. Okay, the reason why JonTron was trending on Twitter just a few days ago was because he posted this on Twitter. So he tried to use that whole Fauci animal abuse thing as like a gotcha moment against people who believe the science at this point. Now, the thing is even though I believe what I know about the science of the sake to be the truth, I'm not going to tell it to you, because you shouldn't take my opinion seriously, and what I think should not matter at all, because I am not qualified. That's just it. So I'm going to say here, he knew the second that he posted it, this was going to be a bad move. Look, if you want to see all the responses and how he got ratioed to hell and back, I'll definitely leave a video link below from Bo Blacks where he covers all the tweets on every single side of this case, so you can definitely check out the full story of what had happened there. But what I want to say on this is that this kind of leads us to a very strange question where we have to consider not only separating the art from the artist. That's one question that JonTron is raising in my mind, but then also I'm thinking, do influencers or celebrities or whatever you want to consider these people with a massive platform, do we grant them extra qualifications merely because they are there? Right? So should it matter to any extent what JonTron believes politically? Because he's not a political YouTuber and he's not qualified and he doesn't influence policy. Neither does Matthewsantoro or GradeAUnderA. None of them have actually any real world influence. They only have their opinions as much as you and I have our opinions, right? None of us individually is going to change the world in any meaningful way in those fields in which we are not qualified, and nobody's asking our opinions, like, at all, right? We're a bunch of dumb fucks arguing amongst each other to see who's the least dumb of the dumb fucks. It's kind of embarrassing if we're being serious about this, but if we're being hilarious about this, then great troll, you won 2021, my dude. You fucking won it. Yeah. But people who are just as qualified as I am, which is zero, those people are just as much entitled to an opinion as I am, but they have the added responsibility of having a big platform. But does that mean somehow that they are not entitled to voice their opinion to the exact same extent that I am? Because there are people with worse hot takes and worse tweets or more leaning, whatever you want to call it. Those people freely post these things on Twitter and do not, get erased or cancelled or lose income or respect within their community. They are just there, and they usually just find their community and adapt and live out their intellectual pursuits in that manner. But they are not seen as more qualified because they don't actually do anything, right? So what I'm asking here, Dane, essentially, does it matter that these people have weird opinions and hot takes? Does it matter? Does it change anything practically? The answer is no, of course it doesn't, right? Then you can say, okay, but they have a massive platform and a massive influence. So therefore, they should have more responsibility because they could change what children think. And boy, howdy, what about the children? Okay, if that is true, if the platform size is what is in question here and the fact that they can have this amount of influence, then we should also take note that they have that equal amount of criticism coming back to them. So they are not speaking over, let's say, 1 million people, but they're speaking in line with 1 million. So 1 million voices echoed back, right? So, this is pretty obvious when we see something like a ratio happen. Just because you have 1 billion followers doesn't mean that you're gonna convince 1 billion people. You're probably gonna get just as much shit back as you put into the world. So that is something that I'm still thinking about. I don't really have a conclusive answer. I would love it if anybody in the comments would want to drop their opinions on this. I will take it as super seriously as I take this video. But in the end of the day, there's literally nothing you and I can do or say to change their mind. And the good news is there's nothing that any of them could say or do to change your mind or my mind. It's pretty equal in that sense, you know? And so from that angle, I choose to look at the situation as not my circus, not my monkey. You know, in the end of the day, I'm just a thought with an opinion and I don't know shit about fuck. Peace.